West Asia remains turbulent. Uneasy calm hangs over Iran. US President Donald Trump has hinted at strikes, but UK has decided to pull out its last naval ship in the region, raising questions over its stakes on the global stage. HMS Middleton, the sole vessel of UK's Royal Navy in West Asia, is expected to return to Britain as early as March this year. This marks the first occasion since 1980 when UK will not have a fighting naval presence in the region. This Hunt-class vessel, which detects and neutralizes sea mines, is based at the UK Naval Support Facility in Bahrain. It plays a key role in safeguarding global security of energy supplies and contributes to wider safety at sea. The move to withdraw HMS Middleton has evoked concerns from military veterans. Admiral Alan West, who served as the British naval chief for between 2002 and 2006, dubbed it a terrible error. He lamented that the British Navy had been reduced to a level where the UK cannot have a patrol vessel in West Asia. Britain's naval footprint in the region, remember, dates back to 1853 when it signed the Perpetual Maritime Truce Treaty. While the Royal Navy closed its Bahrain naval base in 1971, it returned to the region in 1980 as part of the Armilla Patrol. It was aimed at protecting British merchant shipping during the Iran-Iraq War. In 2011, it was succeeded by Operation Kipion, which is UK Navy's current security mission in West Asia. 7 years later, UK re-established the UK Naval Support Facility in Bahrain. However, if we look at the trend, UK Navy's presence in West Asia has been on a downward spiral. While the UK deployed 37 vessels in 2003, during the Iraq invasion, it reduced to 22 in 2010 and 15 in 2020. Only 8 ships sailed through the region last year. After decommissioning of the HMS Lancaster late last year, HMS Middleton was the last remaining ship in West Asia. Britain's crucial role in the region is evident from the fact that a Royal Navy officer is the deputy commander of the Bahrain-based Combined Maritime Forces. This is a grouping of 47 nations to protect 3.2 million square miles of international waters. While the UK emphasized that its naval base in Bahrain shall continue to serve as a strategic hub for its navy, it reiterated its commitment to promote stability in West Asia. But its latest move indicates that the Royal Navy's glory days are clearly in the past now. Moving on, in a setback for China's ambitious space program, the country suffered 2 rocket launch failures in a single day over the weekend. The first failure came just shortly after midnight in the wee hours of Saturday, when a state-owned Long March 3B rocket lifted off from the Xichang Satellite Launch Center in Sichuan province. According to the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation, minutes after the takeoff, the third stage of the rocket malfunctioned, and this resulted in the loss of the Shenzhen 32 satellite. The mishap ended a streak of successful Long March 3B launches since 2020. Hours later, a second disaster struck. Private company Galactic Energy's Series 2 rocket crashed back to Earth on its maiden flight from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwestern China. This resulted in the loss of commercial satellites that it was carrying on board. The company says that engineers are investigating the cause of the failure. Observers say the incidents reflect the growing pains of a sector that conducted a record 92 launches in 2025, sending more than 300 satellites and crewed missions into orbit. The Long March 3B has flown more than 115 missions since 1996, with only 5 launch failures. Is Poland drifting closer to Pakistan and away from India? Well, that was the question on everyone's mind today after an unusually blunt and visibly tense exchange between India's Foreign Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, and the visiting Polish Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, Radoslaw Sikorski. This happened yesterday, and the conversation, of course, extended till today. Dr. Jaishankar sent a clear and pointed public message to Warsaw, saying Poland must display zero tolerance for terrorism and not help fuel terrorist infrastructure in our neighborhood. Now, this remark was widely read as a direct response to Poland's statement on Kashmir that was issued during Sikorski's visit to Pakistan. In October last year, a statement that New Delhi sees as crossing a red line. At the joint interaction, Dr. Jaishankar made it clear that this was not a one-off concern. Far from it, in fact, Jaishankar said that he had candidly raised India's objections with Sikorsky on multiple occasions, in New York, in Paris, and again this time in New Delhi, a concern that India has repeatedly raised with world leaders for years. Only this time, Dr. Jaishankar called it what it is. He also raised concerns with Warsaw over what he described as selective and unfair targeting of New Delhi over its trade ties with Russia through the use of tariffs and other pressure tactics. On this, the Polish minister drew a parallel with Europe's own experience. He said that the European Union too had been selectively targeted, suggesting that India and Europe were, in his words, in the same club. But the Polish foreign minister then pivoted sharply away from terrorism and Kashmir and toward the Russia-Ukraine war. Sikorsky argued that Russia was attempting to re-establish control over Ukraine, calling it a colonial war, and urged India, as a leading voice of the global south, to take a stronger moral position. But the moment that truly highlighted the strain came soon after, when Sikorsky was asked directly about India's concerns over cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan, the very issue behind Dr. Jaishankar's warning. The Polish minister declined to answer. Visibly uncomfortable, he reportedly walked away. For India, the expectation from Poland is not ideological alignment, it is consistency. Warsaw knows, perhaps better than most in Europe, what it means to live with security threats at its borders. Poland has spent years fortifying its frontier with Belarus, responding to hybrid warfare, state-backed sabotage, and attempts to destabilize internal security. It is also on the front line of the fallout from the war in Ukraine, facing refugee flows, military pressure, and persistent fears of escalation. That experience is precisely why New Delhi believes that Poland should understand India's concerns. India has faced decades of cross-border terror emanating from Pakistan, a challenge that is not episodic but structural. For New Delhi, terrorism is not a debate. It is a daily security reality tied directly to sovereignty, civilian safety, as well as regional stability. From India's perspective, asking for zero tolerance is not a demand for loyalty, it is a test of principle. But back to today, this tension is notable because India and Poland have traditionally enjoyed warm and friendly ties. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Warsaw back in August 2024 elevated this relationship to a strategic partnership. Bilateral trade now stands at around $1 billion. Indian investments in Poland exceed $3 billion, while cultural links remain strong. New Delhi has sent a clear message and a signal. Strategic partnerships come with expectations. Dr. Jaishankar's blunt message suggests that India is no longer willing to overlook what it sees as selective moralizing, especially when it comes from countries seeking understanding for their own security challenges, while remaining ambiguous on terrorism affecting India's sovereignty. So is Poland a friend of Pakistan? Well, officially no. But in diplomacy, perception matters.